Welcome to Cha-Ching Chronicles. In today's November 14th newsletter, we're diving into the latest hot events shaping our world. Buckle up, because this one's a game changer. Today's story isn't just news, it's history in the making. Imagine this: 120 missiles, 90 drones, and an entire country grappling with the aftermath. No, this isn't some action-packed Netflix series, it's the reality of Russia's latest assault on Ukraine. But hold up. This isn't just about destruction, it's about power plays, global politics, and what it means for the rest of us. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's break it all down. November 17th, 2024, will go down as one of the darkest nights in Ukraine's recent history. Russia unleashed 120 missiles and 90 drones in a relentless barrage aimed at crippling the nation's infrastructure and terrorizing its people. Key regions, Volyn, Rivne, Lviv, Dnipropetrovsk, and Zaporizhia, were hit hard. Cities plunged into darkness as emergency power cuts tried to limit the damage. But this wasn't just an assault on infrastructure, it was a calculated move to weaken Ukraine's defenses and morale. Now imagine being there, sirens blaring, explosions lighting up the night sky, and entire neighborhoods reduced to rubble. It's a nightmare no one should have to endure. And then there's the human toll, the part of the story that statistics can't fully capture. At least 7 people were killed in the attack, with many more injured. But the most harrowing scene unfolded in Sumy, where a missile obliterated a 9-story residential building. 8 lives were lost there, including 2 children. Think about that. Children who should have been safe in their homes, caught in the crossfire of a conflict they had no part in creating. Dozens more were injured, and entire families were left to pick up the pieces of lives torn apart. But here's where the story shifts. Ukraine may have been under attack, but they weren't defenseless. Their air defense systems sprang into action, intercepting and destroying over 140 incoming projectiles. That's not just a number. That's hundreds of lives potentially saved. It's a testament to Ukraine's resilience and determination. Despite facing overwhelming odds, they continue to stand their ground and defend their people. This is a fight not just for survival, but for sovereignty and freedom. So why now? What's the strategy behind this massive attack? This wasn't just about Ukraine. It was a calculated message to the world, particularly the European Union and the United States. Russia is flexing its muscles, saying, "We're not backing down." And let's not ignore the timing. With President-elect Donald Trump preparing to take office, Russia is setting the stage for what's to come. Trump has talked about peace negotiations, but here's the kicker. His plan might involve letting Russia keep some of the territories they've seized. For Ukraine, that's a non-starter. For the rest of the world, it's a diplomatic tightrope. The international community isn't just sitting on the sidelines. President Biden has authorized Ukraine to use U.S.-supplied long-range missiles, marking a significant escalation in support. This move could allow Ukraine to strike deeper into Russian territory, potentially shifting the balance of power. Meanwhile, European leaders are debating their next steps. With potential changes in U.S. policy under Trump, there's growing pressure to take a more active role in resolving the conflict. But here's the dilemma. How do you negotiate peace without compromising Ukraine's sovereignty? Now you might be thinking, this is tragic, but how does it affect me? The answer? More than you might realize. The conflict is already putting immense pressure on global energy markets. Every missile fired is another blow to stability, driving up costs for everyone. And there's a deeper issue here. If the world allows Ukraine's sovereignty to be compromised, it sets a dangerous precedent. It says to aggressors everywhere, you can take what you want if you're willing to fight for it. That's a message we can't afford to send. So, where do we go from here? Will peace talks lead to a resolution, or will the conflict escalate even further? What we do know is this: Ukraine isn't giving up, and neither is the international community. The fight for sovereignty, freedom, and stability continues. And as we watch this story unfold, one thing is clear: history is being written, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Let's take a deeper dive into the political and financial ripples of this crisis, because trust me, the stakes go far beyond Ukraine's borders. First, let's talk politics. Russia's massive attack wasn't just about military dominance. It was a loud, calculated message. They're saying to the European Union, the United States, and the world, we have the power to disrupt, and we're not afraid to use it. This comes at a delicate moment. With President-elect Donald Trump preparing to take office, Russia is testing how far they can push the boundaries. Trump has hinted at a peace deal that could let Russia keep some of the territories they've taken. For Ukraine, that's unacceptable. For the US and NATO, it's a potential fracture point. How do you support peace without rewarding aggression? Meanwhile, European leaders are caught in a political bind. On one hand, they need to stand firm with Ukraine to uphold international norms. On the other, their economies are straining under the pressure of rising energy costs, and there's growing fatigue over prolonged conflict. It's a diplomatic balancing act with no easy answers. Now, on to the money, because when missiles fly, markets shake. The energy market is at the heart of this crisis. Ukraine is a critical transit point for natural gas to Europe, and every attack on its infrastructure sends shockwaves through energy supplies. As a result, we're seeing higher gas prices, increased volatility, and mounting pressure on European nations to find alternative sources of energy. And it's not just energy. Ukraine is one of the world's top grain exporters, supplying countries across Africa, the Middle East, and beyond. With supply chains disrupted by attacks, food prices are soaring globally. For vulnerable nations already grappling with inflation, this could spark a humanitarian crisis. Let's not forget the global markets. Investor confidence is shaky, with stocks fluctuating as fears of further escalation grow. Safe haven assets like gold and U.S. Treasury bonds are climbing, while industries tied to global supply chains are feeling the pinch. The financial ripples of this conflict touch every corner of the world. Here's the big picture. Politically, this is a test of how far the world is willing to go to defend sovereignty and stability. Financially, it's a stark reminder of how interconnected we all are. The question isn't just what happens next in Ukraine. It's how do we as a global community respond to aggression, protect our economies, and ensure peace doesn't come at the cost of justice. One thing's for sure, this crisis isn't just Ukraine's fight. It's a wake-up call for all of us. The Russia-Ukraine conflict increases stock market volatility as investors shift to safer assets like gold and bonds. Energy and defense stocks often rise due to higher demand, while sectors reliant on stable energy and food prices, like manufacturing and food production, may face declines. Global indices and emerging markets also feel pressure from supply chain disruptions and inflation. Thanks for sticking with us through this deep dive. Got questions, thoughts, or even your own predictions? Drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. We're here to keep you informed, inspired, and always in the loop. Until next time, stay curious, stay empowered, and as always, stay awesome. This is Cha-Ching Chronicles, signing off.